best part, though? He said he's not the only penis man. Oh my god, no. Oh my god, no!
Yeah.
No! Was he gonna fart on a Grizzly Bear? What? That's wild.
All right. Well, welcome back to another episode of Slightly Informed. This week we have the same three hosts that we've had every week. It is myself, Nick, as well as
McLean, what's up, guys?
Yeah, John, new week, new me.
All right, here we go. So we've got a few great things to cover for you this week and some terrible ones as well. We've lost a few lives in the race for the presidential.
We've lost someone deep and dear to my heart.
Yes.
Sad day.
Very sad.
Sad several days.
Sad. It's just been so sad. But yeah, we've lost a couple of the contenders for the presidency, so we're gonna dive into that this week. We got some New Hampshire results to get out to you, as well as a few shout outs as we always have. So to start it off, I'm gonna toss this over to John for our send off.
Guys, we're going to talk about the death of an American hero. And not really the death, but the end of his campaign. It's a sad, sad day. My Tuesday was actually really sad. I was really bummed out.
Called into work.
I called out on work on Wednesday because I was
To
in mourning.
grieve.
I was
Yeah.
grieving the loss of the dearly departed Andrew Yang.
Oh man.
Pour one out for the homie.
Pour one out.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers to Andrew. Andy.
All right, but in all seriousness. Okay. Andrew, it was a bummer. I'm really bummed that he's gone. Luckily, he's only 45 years old, so chances are he has a long, long political future ahead of him. And I don't know, like, he was the guy, like, I think a lot of people who listen to us or listen to any politics podcast or show or anything have a candidate that's near and dear to your heart. The same way, like, Bernie getting fucked in 2016 emotionally fucked with a lot of the Bernie supporters because it was just like, you tie, like, your hopes onto this person and then
Your money. How much are we donating to the Yang campaign?
Probably a little too much money to the Yang campaign.
And, like,
But I
talk
don't
about
regret
it.
any of it because it brought UBI into the public conversation in a way that it hasn't been in like 50, 60 years. And I don't think it's going anywhere because I've been saying this for the past few months that I think Yang is essentially the Bernie of 2016 where he's going to be back. He's going to come back stronger than ever. If you will strike him down, he will only come back
even
more
his final
powerful.
form.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But essentially the way Bernie moved the Overton window in 2016, where everyone thought he was fucking insane for saying free college, free like Medicare for all, like anything like that. And then in 2020, everyone has to run on that issue because that's the new hip thing. I think that's going to be what happens to Yang. And I also think his policies for me got to the heart of the issues in non-divisive ways, where like it wasn't us versus an other. It was just like our society versus the problem. Like, what's the easiest way to solve poverty? Give people fucking cash. Like, yeah, exactly. Or like a lot of like the gun thing where he's like, let's not take guns, voluntary buyback, and then we can make your gun like a personalized gun that only you can shoot, and like things like that. Or like, let's not try to pass a constitutional amendment overturning Citizens United. Let's just give the people more money to spend than the billionaires. Boom, easy solution. Like solutions that it was hard to argue against from either side. It made it pretty simple. And there's a quote that's always misattributed to Winston Churchill, but it's that Americans will always do the right thing after exhausting all other options. And I think that kind of sums up the history of our country, where we're always like too late to solve issues. We're late to same-sex marriage. We're late to civil rights. We're late to ending slavery. We're always late, but we get there. And I think UBI is just the next thing on that path where like the robot trucks are coming, automation's coming, and we're just going to be late in trying to solve it. This would have been a solution ahead of its time, and it turns out America's not ready for that.
It was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Just exactly that.
And I mean, to me, like, he was the candidate that would have most positively affected my life. Realistically, I think a lot of people are going to switch to Bernie. Some people are going to switch to Tulsi. 42% from that Emerson poll are just going to bounce because they were voting blue for Yang, not because of blue. So I think some people are going to bounce. And realistically, like, free healthcare is cool, but I have healthcare. $1,000 a month would help soften the blow of everything. If you're, like, food insecure, which 10% of the country is, money helps solve that. And then, yeah, I mean, I just want to wrap it up that, like, I'm still debating what I'm going to do next, who I'm going to move to. Realistically, chances are Bernie, but we've said on the podcast in the past that I'm not a vote blue no matter who guy. If it's not Bernie, I'm probably out of here. I mean, maybe Liz. No one else really is capturing any of my heart. But in the primary, I think I'm still voting for Yang, even though he's not in there, because I think the primary should always be about who you think the best president would be. Mm-hmm. And I still think that would have been Andrew Yang. So I'll vote for him in the primary. If Bernie is in the general, I'll fight hard for Bernie. If they fuck us with Bloomberg, I'm out. I'm going to sit at home, or realistically, I'll probably vote third party, because that's what I did in 2016. I didn't want my name supporting either Hillary Clinton or Trump. So I voted for fucking idiot asshole Gary Johnson. But at least it was some sort of protest vote, which is what Bloomberg would do to me.
God, Bloomberg, like, I can't think of someone else that I would that would be worst person to
go against Trump. Yeah. There's no one else that would be worse.
He's so bad. For one, he'll lose. If he wins, poorly. He cements just the worst idea, the most toxic thing that could affect our politics going forward.
That because it basically instills the idea like you're rich enough, you could buy the election. B, I think the silver lining a lot of people, especially Democrats, don't realize about Trump. The silver lining about Trump is he's a goddamn idiot. Mm-hmm. So he hasn't really done much bad stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, functionally, Bloomberg is incredibly smart and incredibly talented at getting things done. Yeah. It just so happens most of those tend to be really fucked up things. Yeah. But he'll get them done. And that's the silver lining people don't realize with Trump is, like, if you had a Ted Cruz in presidency, this whole section of time would have been significantly worse. Oh, yeah. Because Trump ruined the office of the presidency, but he hasn't really done much negative for our country.
Yeah. Besides the courts.
Besides the court. Yeah. I mean, he absolutely ruined the office of the presidency.
Destroyed it.
But, like, a lot of, like, the Republicans would have just been way better at getting things done. We would have repealed Obamacare. Oh, yeah. We would have built the dumb wall. We would have done any of this. This is all stuff Trump just can't accomplish because he's an idiot. That Bloomberg would accomplish just in a neoliberal way instead of a neocon way.
Yeah, Jeb or Ted Cruz would be infinitely more destructive.
Ted Cruz is way scarier because he's got that religious theocracy kind of view.
Oh my God.
And that's what they're trying to essentially make the office of the presidency unaccountable to any other branch. But we have a buffoon in office who can't utilize it to its full strength. But imagine putting someone in office who could use a presidency where you're not accountable to the legislature. Like, if they subpoena you, you're just like, nah.
Like, if Mitch McConnell was, like, charismatic at all and ran for office, like, that'd be significantly worse.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and this is what people don't realize. They'll find someone who's charismatic. Trump isn't the worst. And I think this is the
Trump
scary
just
thing.
Trump showed a new formula.
Exactly. Trump showed a new formula, but the scary thing is, like, he's not using it. It's going to be the next person who uses it. And since we've done Orange Man bad so many times, we're not going to see...
We're not going to be weaponized to defeat that even.
Exactly. It's just going to be like, well, at least it's not Trump. Exactly. Like, it couldn't really get much worse. Like, it could. It could get a lot worse, boys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's ask Brazil about that.
Yeah, exactly. That's a weaponized executive branch that's actually competent.
Yeah. Fuck, that's so bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that isn't being talked about by any of, like, the mainstream media is, like, we're not in the worst possible world that people imagine we are. We're in, like, a bad world, but it could get so much worse so much faster.
Yeah, really could.
Yeah, and no one's prepared to deal with that.
Let's move on to the slight good news out of New Hampshire. We had the sad news. Andrew Yang is out.
But Bernie beat Pete.
Bernie beat Pete. That is a good hashtag we got that we had going yesterday. Liz Warren and Joe Biden collect
Unviable.
0 delegates from the state of New Hampshire, the neighboring state to Massachusetts.
To Liz, yeah.
That is like, honestly, I'm struggling to find, like, more than, like, 5 people online who predicted that.
Yeah.
Virgil, Texas.
Virgil did, yeah.
That he predicted 1 through 5 in the exact order, like 5 hours before the results came in or something like that.
And I think he even put a line that they would be unviable.
Yeah, would be. He's like, your viability line is either at or before Amy.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh wow. Yeah. I was like, I don't know. I think we could still get four people, maybe even 5, like, viable. But
only
no.
3?
Yeah, that's
only 3.
insane.
And somehow Klobuchar overtakes Biden and Liz.
Joe Biden lost to Bernie by 43,000 votes.
Yeah.
He only got 24,000.
And if you listen to the mainstream media, though, the most important thing to think about is
who's third place.
Not even who's third place, but if you add up all the moderates, they crushed Bernie. If you add Pete, Klob and Biden together, they're like 53%. Bernie was only at 26. He basically lost.
The Exodius code.
Yeah, exactly.
This is Exodius centrism.
Yeah, exactly.
We put Joe Biden's messed up brain on top of Pete's young body.
Yeah.
And then
Amy Klobuchar's hands to throw things. Yeah.
That monolith of 3 different candidates crushes.
That's literally a narrative
Bernie.
that's been coming out of the mainstream media
funny.
this week, though. Is like, yeah, well, last time he got like 47, so
he's
his support's basically cut in half.
Yeah. No competition.
Yeah, no, it's been rough out there that like people are referring to Bernie as the front runner, and it's like, oh yeah, winning 2 states
doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, he's basically in second place.
Also leading every poll
nationally.
And there's this polling that came out that showed if you gave voters a head-to-head Bernie versus any other candidate, Bernie versus Klob, Bernie versus
Biden
versus
Bloomberg,
Pete, all that. Yeah, they give them an option on all of that, and Bernie didn't lose a single matchup, which means no matter who outlasts the others and ends up second place running against him at the end, none of them can.
And it's a dumb argument in reality too, because you could have made the same argument for Trump in 2016, where he had the most fervent base. It might have been the smallest base, or it might have had a ceiling, I guess is the right way to put it. It might have had a ceiling at 35-40%, but since the moderate wing of their party was divided, he crushed them.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it's a dumb argument in reality, because you're maybe you're right. I don't think you're right, but maybe you're right. But as long as all 3 of them stay in the race, 4 of them, if you include Liz, who's going to still pull some votes, they're not going to be able to overtake the guy with the strongest base, which is Bernie.
Do you think Liz stays in if she doesn't win a Super Tuesday state?
I think she'll stay, right? She'll stay until Super Tuesday.
Okay, yeah.
She's not. I think either way, she's going to drop after Super Tuesday.
Yeah.
But I think something that even the still voting Yang crowd has been talking about, which isn't going to happen, him winning a delegate, but they're essentially making the argument that if you can win a delegate, you have more of a say at a contested convention, which I think could be Liz's not for her presidency necessarily, but if you come in with delegates, you have some sort of say at the convention. Yeah. Versus if she just dropped now, you're done.
Yeah. True.
So yeah.
So
I
did she
think
get
that might
anyone
be
out of Iowa? I think she did. Yeah. But that's not a sizable. If you're tied with.
No, I think they had 40 delegates or something overall, and she had a couple of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can try to quick Google that. But I think that's the play. I think Biden's hoping for a South Carolina bump. I doubt he gets it. Even if he performs well in South Carolina, I still think Bernie's going to take the state. The Bernie momentum is too big at this point.
In Iowa, we've got 41 pledged delegates. 8 went to Liz. So she walks into the convention with 8 delegates.
Yeah.
Not much of a big swinging dick to throw your weight around in there.
No, it's not. But I think it gives you a seat at the table.
Well, I mean, yes. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think that's because if she can take another 10, 12, 20 out of Super Tuesday.
I've had this kind of recurring thought in my head with Liz is that before any of these states started voting, just the fact that where her polls were at and the fact that she was staying so strong and still spending as much money as she has been, is that she wants to be she knows she's going to be the 3rd or 4th place, not the winner. She probably knew it before Iowa even
compromise
happened.
Candidate at a convention.
Exactly. Yeah. And she gets to leverage whichever wing of the party is willing to court her. Her votes could be the deciding delegates that hand Bernie or Pete or Bernie or Biden or
Bloomberg.
Or Bloomberg. Oh my God, that's the one that worries me the most.
That's the nightmare scenario. The question is, are the Democrats dumb enough to shoot themselves in the face?
Yeah,
and it's sad that because we can't say no.
Yeah,
if you asked everyone else, would you shoot yourself in the face? You get a pretty resounding no.
Yeah.
You asked the DNC, would you shoot yourself in the face, ruin the future
my
of the
nose
party?
was a danger to the rest of my face.
Ruin the future of the party to get a Bloomberg. They might do it.
It would literally break the party into smithereens.
But maybe that's what you need. I mean, I don't.
But in a 2-party system, there's no way to regain control that way. It would literally.
Yeah, I mean. But unless you essentially just make a new party where now it's not the party of the DNC elite, it's the party of the Bernie-crats.
Yeah, if we had a Labor Party and the Democrats became the centrist.
Parties have switched historically in the past too. I mean, it's.
But it's just in a Senate Congress system, it's almost impossible to cede all your political power the moment you try to start a new party. Because
I also think
there's a pretty big wing of the party.
But that's why they can do the things that they can do and fuck everyone over.
Yeah.
Is because they have this like, okay, you guys want to leave? I guess we'll never win again.
Yeah.
Like they feel like that's their like. It's like it's just like a suicide. It's like a murder suicide. It's like yeah. You want to end the party? Cool. Well, you're fucking yourself over. And we're gonna hold strong.
Yeah.
So do what you want. But I think at some point someone's got to call their bluff.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's not. I mean, that's the two most concerning candidates that they could shoehorn in. Honestly, if they get the Klob in there, or if they get Warren in there,
it's
or
not
Biden in there,
it's not gonna be
But if it's any of those three people,
God.
It's gonna be Buttigieg or Bloomberg.
I was gonna say if it's Klob, Biden, or Warren, somehow any of them sneak their way into there, or are tied with Bernie or close to Bernie and get shoveled in there, like that does nothing to the tangent we're going on. Like they won't cement a generation of people behind their ideology. No. But Pete, being as young as he is and being the first gay president, being all that kind of stuff,
he could be an Obama light.
But like that puts his politics, which is nothing. It's vacuous.
That's what we have, though.
Absolutely,
that's standard status quo.
That's any mainstream Democrat, any mainstream Republican. All you have is psychotic Republicans who know what they believe and will say it out loud.
It's like the generation of the horoscope candidate, where they say enough dumb things that dumb people can read into it and be like, I know exactly what he's saying.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to read through the lines, man. Like that applies directly to me.
Because like Bloomberg, it just cements the idea that you got money. This is your office. Let's pick each side picks their favorite billionaire.
Yeah,
and they run against each other. And then we got The Rock versus
you see, the problem though is you wouldn't even get The Rock. You would get like Mark Zuckerberg, or it would be the generation of that, because The Rock has name ID, but he doesn't have the money to fucking spend $300 million on ads. And Bloomberg's campaign just came out and they said they double or triple that. By the end of the cycle,
it's gonna be like
he's gonna end up spending like a cool like $1.5 billion.
It's gonna be the Virgin Mobile guy versus like
exactly.
Like,
yeah, it's gonna be something like that. Well, and I think the scary thing about Bloomberg is he made a fool out of Tom Steyer. Tom Steyer's a billionaire, but Tom Steyer's not a billionaire's billionaire. Mm-hmm. He's got like 1.2, and Bloomberg has like 62. Yep. That's like
it's a big fucking
$50,000 million dollars more. It's
immeasurable.
Yeah, it's a measurable difference. Yeah. Like it would be the generation of the rich billionaires. And even if they didn't always win, it would set a precedent of like,
hey, got money, run.
Yeah,
Bezos,
country. You have 120 billion. You could spend dude. 6 of that.
Get it.
Yeah,
run out there.
Yeah, what's 6
get
out of 130?
Get your name out there, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
More and more.
Yeah. No, I mean that would be the disastrous scenario.
God, if Bezos ran for president.
Yeah.
Oh,
let's not talk about that.
Yeah, I think he knows he looks too much like a supervillain.
Yeah.
Like he walks around.
I also think a lot of these people know where true power is, and it's in money.
Money, yeah.
Like in the status quo
the person
system,
holding the strings and not being publicly accountable.
That's what the Koch brothers did for the longest time, which is like, we'll fund all the research groups and super PACs. Yeah. And you guys can do your thing, but anytime you need money, come talk to us. You know, like that. Like that's the one thing Bernie's trying to fight against.
Yeah.
So we'll see if he can do it. I don't know. I think Bernie. I don't buy the pulling a lot can happen between now and then. I think it's going to come down to like a 50-50.
It's going to be at the convention.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get to Super Tuesday. All the field is going to be narrowed down. We're going to get. If I had to guess, it's going to be Bernie versus Pete.
I think it's going to be
some
soup of Bernie Pete Bloomberg.
I agree with John.
Yeah,
Bloomberg's he's in there.
He's going to pull something.
I think after Super Tuesday is where Bloomberg picks up steam and where Pete falls off. Because Pete's money doesn't have the money to go to the distance.
It doesn't matter about the money though. So this is how I would break down the race. Bernie has the grassroots support.
Yeah.
Pete has the narrative.
Yeah.
And backed by the mainstream media. And Bloomberg has the money. Because now that Pete has quote-unquote 1-2 states, according to some people, or come very close or tied, he's the candidate that the mainstream media is trying to push. And at some point, they're going to turn on Klobuchar, because once she feels like, once they feel like she can't actually take the nomination, they're going to try to get all the mainstream moderate, all the mainstream moderate support behind Pete. So he has the narrative of like, look at this rising star gay mayor from South Bend, Indiana, and he manages to compete for the presidency. That's who we need. We can't go with this far left ticket of Bernie Sanders.
Oh, fuck.
So Bernie Sanders is the one with the movement. Pete Buttigieg is the one with the mainstream media narrative, and Bloomberg has the money.
See, I see a finish line where Bloomberg picks up enough in the post. I still think he's not going to collect a whole ton of delegates out of Super Tuesday, but I think he'll get enough. Fourth. I was going to say, I think he'll get enough to where it's going to propel his ads and everything into, because he'll be shown as the third place from that point forward if he gets.
Or God forbid he wins one state or anything like that'll be the new ad.
Yep. Exactly.
Like, and came from nowhere, joined the race late. Look at me now, I'm in third.
Because Pete's jumping off point was obviously Iowa. Like that's been his plan. He spent all of his money there. It propelled his campaign. He had to announce his victory before it had even been counted, just to make sure.
Which is like a ballsy House of Cards-esque move.
Oh, it really is.
To like no winner declared, 0 delegates reporting in, and just be like,
it's gonna be tight. Like victorious.
I won.
Me.
Leaving the state victorious, fools. And then the mainstream media has to report on that until we get actual results, which is like 48 hours later, and everyone stopped paying attention by then.
Oh, man.
Yeah. It's like whether it
this election's just leaving such a bad taste in my mouth every time I think of it.
Yeah, it's either going to make me incredibly hopeful or super black-pilled. Yeah. And we'll see what the result of this is, and we'll see how I feel about the future of our country.
Yeah. Like Bernie, if you stay true to your message, if you advertise in a way that will expand the base.
Now let's bring up this too. Yang said he'd endorse anyone who said they were pro-UBI.
So there's a free 3% on the board.
There's a free 3% on the board. Tulsi came out pro-UBI. Andrew didn't endorse her because I think he's waiting for a Sanders endorsement.
Yeah.
I think he's hoping Sanders says, you know what, UBI is a good plan. I did the research. You pull the Yang Gang into the fold and Bernie, take that 3-point bump, call it good. Yeah. Because if he was really going to endorse anyone who said pro-UBI, he would have already endorsed Tulsi, which he didn't. Yeah. So I think he's waiting for
Bernie to do it.
To see if Bernie will come around on the idea.
Yeah.
And I think Bernie should. I don't know if he will because he actually has conviction, so he might actually genuinely believe federal jobs guarantee is better. But I think that would be a good strategy by their campaign. Yeah. Because outside of the Bernie campaign, the Yang Gang's the most annoying on the internet. So pull them into the fold.
Facts.
Let's harass some people online.
Yeah, I think
team up.
To any of my fellow Bernie supporters, I think the Yang Gang is the only base that is more online than us.
Yeah,
it's just true.
They crush on every online poll. You just send up the bat signal, hashtag Yang Gang.
Everyone's got notifications.
Even
for
Sam
anytime.
B's game,
Gang was
exactly winning by a lot.
Samantha B's totally unrigged primary. We were just cool, free $50,000 or whatever. I'll log in once a day. They claimed it was 200. It ended up being 50 or 60 or something like that. Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, it was dumb. But all they had to say was log and play this game. We get some free cash for our campaign. Cool. They won by 2 million votes, 2 million points or something like that. Yeah. So I think Bernie should try to fold Yang into the fold because I think realistic I think he doesn't want to cave on the democratic socialism thing because at its heart UBI is kind of black pilled. It's saying yeah, we're not going to have a perfect society, but we should at least take our piece of the pie. Yeah. That's what UBI really is we're going to continue getting fucked, but here's something because it's not going to get perfect. So at least let's not let it go all to the top. Here's a cut. Yeah. So I don't know if they'll actually want to accept that as reality, but for a lot of people it is reality. Just saying yeah, I don't know if we'll get a perfect future out of this, but I'm struggling now and I want something. Exactly. I think that's a lot of the vote that Yang pulled in. And I think those people, if Bernie came out and said, yeah, I like Yang, he has some good ideas, I would come out in support of UBI as president, boom, take that 3-point bump. Yeah. 2-point bump, whatever it is nationally.
No, I think that's just easy money right there. And I think if you were to ask Bernie in a private conversation about his position on UBI, my guess is that he would say something along the lines of that's something that you build within your social democracy.
Yeah.
Once you have those safety nets that he's talking about expanding, like securely there. So
But
I think it's just a reverse order.
But I think he should at least come out and say that.
Though, totally.
Because
agree. Totally
me and
agree.
you are both on the same page. Both are good ideas. We just disagree on what should come first.
Exactly.
But at least if he came out and said, "Look, there," because I think I'm super pro UBI, but I also think having a guaranteed job there for you would also be nice. Because I don't want to just suck off the tit of the government, but I would
only live.
I would suck off the
12,000
tit for the $12,000 and then work my $15 an hour job and maybe be at like 40-ish. I could make a living off of that, you know. So I think it's something he should come out and say he's in support of.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean that's my ideal. Like if I look at the future of this election, ideally it's Bernie as president, Yang as VP. Bernie says we're doing healthcare now because we have to. There's people dying, and then the future is going to be UBI and federal jobs. for our listeners,
I hate you.
Nick has been smoke free for a week, and he just whipped out a pack. So
You're the worst, Nick. Oh, only one.
It's empty.
I'll admit I'm a bad influence because I've been smoking like this whole time. So it might be on me.
Oh God.
Jesus.
Sorry, Mom.
Sorry, Mom. Oh man. All right, what are we looking at?
Let's jump into shoutouts.
I think we got to do some shout-outs.
Jump into shout-outs?
Jumping to the shout-outs.
So I'll start this shout out because I originally had a different shout out, but I was kind of just scrolling through Reddit and saw this, and it is officially my favorite CNN article ever. The title is Florida City Shuts Down Part of Park Due to Annual Snake Orgy.
What?
Catch you at the snake orgy.
Okay,
What?
This is the CNN article.
Liz Warren
Things
was doing
got
what?
quite spicy near Lake Hollingsworth in Lakeland, Florida this week after residents reported snake sightings to the Lakeland Parks and Recreation Department. Turns out it's mating season in Florida for the Florida water snake, and large groups of snakes have gathered near the lakefront for a giant orgy. Caution tape was put up around the area to increase public awareness of the snake orgy. It just cracks me up how they only use snake orgy. They don't say it's like mating season or anything like that. They're just like spicy snake orgy.
Yeah, these snakes are not finding a partner. They're there to fuck.
They're there to get it wet.
Yeah.
No, this is the weirdest like description of a Liz Warren fundraiser I've ever heard.
Oh, coming in with that fire. Oh man.
It takes a couple paragraphs before they get into they are an important part of the ecosystem and should not be disturbed. Florida water snakes are a native species. Blah 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 blah. But no shit. The first fucking thing they say is things got quite spicy with 4 S's.
Spicy.
Spicy.
Oh, who wrote this article?
A 7-year-old.
Yeah, the 4 S's. Super spicy snake orgy.
Amir Vera.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right.
That definitely trumped my my shout out I had before because that was pretty funny.
All right, John, what's your shout out for the week?
Have you guys ever heard of the Beast?
The Beast.
It is a nickname for something.
Oh no.
It is a nickname for the presidential limousine, a 22,000-pound Cadillac limousine, the Beast.
Okay.
Do you guys know what it was up to this weekend?
No.
Okay.
Oh God.
Trump did a flyover with Air Force One of the NASCAR Daytona 500. And then they unloaded the Beast, and it did a lap around the course.
Oh no!
I have never been so proud to be an American.
So the Beast it was almost like the pace car kind of thing, but it was the presidential limousine with Donald Trump in it. And Donald Trump got to come out and do the gentleman start your engines thing, and then he hopped in the Beast, a 22,000-pound limousine that gets 3.7 miles to the gallon, and rode around the track. I think he only made it halfway before they pulled off to a staging area.
Oh my god!
Right. And he got asked what the people enjoy about NASCAR, and he says, "I think it's really the bravery of these people. It takes great courage. For 500 heart-pounding miles, these fierce competitors will chase the checkered flag and make their play for pure American glory. And that's what it is, pure American glory." He also said the Daytona 500 was a legendary display of roaring engines, soaring spirits, and American skill, speed, and power that we've been hearing about for so many years. The tens of thousands of patriots here today have come for the fast cars and world-class motorsports. But NASCAR fans never forget that no matter who wins the race, what matters most is God, family, and country.
Oh, the cherry on top. The chef's kiss.
Not pandering at all. Yeah.
Perfect.
I just love that they transported this limousine to the Daytona 500.
So good.
And then he got in it and led a lap around it with all the cars behind him.
I seriously
It's also
tell you,
crazy behind the scenes on how much money it costs to move this. They have to have like the largest military transport.
Oh yeah.
Fly two beasts. It's not just one. It's two identical.
Oh, do they?
So more than likely they flew two of them. Yeah, we only maybe saw one on the track, but they damn sure had two of them there.
I also love. Have you guys seen like the side-by-side pictures of like the door open on this car and the door open on a normal Cadillac? It like broke my brain for a second because I didn't know what I was looking at. Because this door is legit
like,
probably like 2 feet thick.
It's ridiculous.
Like,
oh my
yeah,
god.
they've
The
said it could get
glass-
shot by an RPG and just like
it-
keep going. It like doesn't care. Yeah.
It has oxygen supplies on board.
Yeah.
It's completely sealed. It's got straight up. It has a blood bank of the president's blood in the back. It's pretty crazy.
I love that story because to me it sounds like Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah.
Just like doing a movie like The
Doing a movie
Dictator,
mocking
but instead
American
it's like
presidency,
American
yeah.
presidency. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's exactly what
Like
it sounds
not pandering in the slightest
No.
to NASCAR fans. Like, and I guess they were also flying a banner around the track the whole time. That they were flying a banner around the track the whole time supporting Trump 2020 because there was I think there was like 100,000 fans in attendance and like 9 million people watching on TV or some shit like that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so the president was there. He got to be like the master of ceremonies and ride his little limousine around. So that's my shout out. I don't know if it's to the president or to the Beast or to NASCAR, but I had to shout out that event. It was wild.
So good.
Yeah, it was pretty great. So, Nick, what are you coming at with us this week?
Oh, I have a shout out for the 2020 Aleppo moment.
Oh, God, what happened?
With, Gary Johnson famously in 2016 was asked.
Did he say who's Aleppo?
Yeah. No.
Oh.
Did he say? I
It
don't
was
know.
either who or what.
What is? I think he said what.
Okay.
And they said, the situation in Aleppo is going, blah, 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 and asking him about the current crisis.
In Syria, right?
In Syria, yeah, exactly. And he goes, what's Aleppo?
And
So that he became known as the Aleppo guy.
Yeah.
Because he was
kind of tanked his presidency.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean,
it wasn't going anywhere anyway, but
got to know at least a little bit about foreign policy.
well, that was also like the current crisis at that moment in time.
Yeah, like Europe was getting just bombarded with like fascist attacks attacking the rescue boats and all kinds of stuff. Like it was the biggest moment like in politics at the time. And so the big blunder there. And with all the trade talks, especially Klobuchar saying that she, had a huge hand in the what was it, the USMCA? Yeah, it was like, I worked across the aisle to get this done. Blah, blah, blah. Like she should know the name of Mexico's president. But in an interview they did with I think 4 of the candidates, I believe, and the only one who actually knew the name was unfortunately Pete.
Yeah.
But Klobuchar and Tom Steyer both had no idea, and they kept like dancing around it when they were asking them questions. It was like, no, but do you know the name of the person who is? She's like, well, I generally work with the state attorney and
name drop someone else.
Yeah,
and spin.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's what she was doing. And so neither of them knew the name of the president of Mexico.
Now, to be honest, I could name the president of Mexico, but I'm also not running for president.
Yeah.
I think that's the point we're going to hit regularly on Slightly Informed.
And you can at least give Tom Steyer the break of, like, he's not been in politics.
Yeah.
He's been in the private
But again,
sector.
running for presidency.
Running for
You'd think
president.
you'd know, like, Justin Trudeau and like our two closest neighbors. Who is the president of Mexico?
It's AMLO.
AMLO. Okay.
Yeah. No, he's shouted out Bernie on multiple occasions. Bernie has a
Good
line of
relationship.
communication with him, as well as with both Evo, who got yeeted out of office in Bolivia.
Nice.
By totally not the CIA.
Yeah.
And Lula, who got ousted from his position in Brazil. So yeah, it's kind of in that vein, and so it's of course someone that's just not going to be on the radar of just your centrist, middle of the road candidate who has no interest in any of those things.
Yeah, not at all.
Oh, so that's my shout out. But yeah, Tom Steyer and
Shout out to Tom Steyer and Amy.
Klobuchar. Shout out for doing your homework.
Yeah, way to go, guys. Just get the two closest countries.
At least the ones involved in the deal that you're
direct
espousing.
neighbors.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Potentially our most hot topic of foreign affairs with any country is our relationship with Mexico.
Yeah. No.
But yeah, I think that's it for the shout outs. So we are going to move on to stories. All right.
What we're bringing to the table this week.
I think we start off with McLean.
Cool. So I had a couple. I had anything from the U.S. military trying to implant basically a mini computer in a locust to just for them to sniff out bombs.
Like at the time the CIA tried to make a spy cat and then it got hit by a car.
that was a wild ride.
That always works.
So I decided to go again. I'm not going to tell you guys that one. I was going to talk about a really cool AI that can basically detect when you're going to have a heart attack more accurately than
doctors,
cardiologists. So it's the first time that blood flow scans had ever been shown to a computer. And the technology was more accurate at predicting major cardiovascular events with a 19-month follow-up than a doctor.
Yeah.
So I just think it's crazy how, everyone's talking about
this
how
is the future of medicine.
It
for
really
sure.
is.
Yeah.
How this AI
there will be doctors
is,
involved, but it's going to go to AI for sure.
Definitely. Shit. I was reading this article and I was like, damn, that's actually pretty cool.
Well, the AIs beat radiologists a while ago because it turns out that computer AI can see more gray than a human eye.
Yeah.
So they beat
the image processing is way better
higher,
once you have an algorithm that works for it.
So it's funny. Like I knew the radiologists were better, but it sounds like cardiologists will get taken over sometime here in the near future. And I think that's something to think about with the AI. Is it's not like people think blue collar jobs. It's not going to be just blue collar jobs.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of white collar jobs too.
Yeah. So this article, it went on to talk about how it kind of, in a way, taught doctors something where they're like, okay, that's interesting. Let's look into why it was thinking that. And they're like, oh, shit, that's that's interesting that it was looking at this. And then, so an AI, in a way, has taught doctors a little bit about...
Well, that's the craziest thing is, like, again, slightly informed, so I don't really understand all this or any of this, but essentially they tell, like, a neural network what the result they want is, so they'd essentially tell it, like, predict a heart attack, and then the computer would look at, like, 80 million samples and be like...
Of what a heart attack...
Yeah, exactly.
What data can be traced.
What data can be, used before to show that you're going to have a heart attack and see things that the humans would just never pair together.
Well, and now that we got, like, EKGs on everyone's wrist, anyone that's got an Apple Watch, it has an EKG...
constant monitoring.
Going, and that data can be, mass...
I think that'll be used as the future of a lot of medicine. Because they also already have in some countries, like, essentially drones that fly around with like the paddles, so then like you can call and say like, hey, my husband's having a heart attack, and like
an AED,
like defibrillators or whatever they're called, like they essentially drone out a defibrillator faster than like the paramedics could ever get there.
That's crazy.
You get it, you stick it, it's just stickies they put on your chest, and then the little thing
has a little instruction
basically just sends
where you need to put it.
You think movies, where they rub the paddles together. It's nothing quite like that. It's a smaller shock, but it's a small shock that just slowly
keeps the heart going until the actual paramedics.
It's really awesome. I mean, They're everywhere now. They're in
I think that's gonna, like
schools
what you're
and-
saying with the EKG on the wrist. I think you'll have a future where your watch is like, "Fuck, you're having a heart attack," calls the
don't know it
drone
yet.
for
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
and then like your wife puts the thing on your chest,
And you're thinking that like, whoa,
Yeah.
is this going off false positive? And then
Yeah.
like while they're delivering that
exactly,
AEG to you, or
EKG, yeah,
EKG,
or
yeah.
no, there was a different
The
defibrillator,
defibrillator,
thing,
yeah, the EKG's already on you.
yeah.
But yeah, like, just having that show up and like as you're noticing and cramping up and grabbing your chest,
Exactly.
like, oh wow, it's right here. Like
Yeah.
that is crazy.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a large robotic and AI future of medicine for sure.
I'm pretty excited to see how it goes. It's already crazy.
It's already crazy, yeah.
It's a feedback loop though of more data equaling to new technologies which collect more data, which
Yep.
provides new
Which is a little
basis for
invasive,
technology.
which I don't love, but you save lives, I guess. So
Yeah.
that like those are the sacrifices we got to worry about with
Yeah.
our data. Like, is it worth it? I guess.
It's tough. So, all right,
No,
who's
that's a good
next?
story.
All right, I just want to do a quick hit on one. There's going to be a quick hit and then a long hit. And the quick hit's going to be the budget. Because I forgot, we haven't really talking about this tonight, but I just really wanted to address the fact of, like, Donald Trump tweeted out the day before that he would never cut Social Security, Medicare. Next day, the budget comes out, and he's cut them, like, 10%.
Yep.
So the budget's pretty fucked up. They're also diverting $3.5 billion from Pentagon spending to the border wall. So, yeah, I just wanted to quick hit you guys with this. Yeah,
I actually had not read this.
Yeah, because I forgot about this until something you were saying earlier sparked my memory about that we just need to real quick drive-by hit the budget.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah, so the budget for this next year is like, it's like large austerity cuts and bumping up military spending even more than it's already been bumped.
Wow.
And then siphoning some of that to try to build a border wall to say you're accomplishing things before the election.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I would also love to point out that I think I've mentioned this once before, but Trump had built I think it was 60-foot sections of the border wall, just to show.
Yeah.
And the one that the example that won, they're like, that's what the wall's gonna look like. It fucking blew over.
Yeah, blew over in high
From
winds.
wind.
Yeah, a tree caught it. It like almost blew onto all these buildings, but there's a tree in the way. So the tree stood up stronger than the border wall.
Shout out to the tree.
Yeah.
Direct action.
Yeah, direct action. Supporting that border wall. Way to go.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite stories when I read that. I forget
Yeah,
what
I
it was,
remember
but it was
like around the
great.
time that came out, Trump was bragging about how like even world-class climbers said they couldn't like climb that and pass it, and then all the climbers were like, "Yeah, we could.
Yeah.
It'd be super goddamn easy."
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you heard of a rope, asshole? Like, yeah. Oh man, so that's the quick drive-by on that. The long one I want to do like a little bit deeper dive into is just Bloomberg and the shitty week Bloomberg's been having, where people actually look at his record and say, "Hey, that's fucked up."
Stop and frisk.
Yeah,
Hey, are you sorry about any
The
of
first
this?
one I heard about this week was when the audio came out where he said, "Yeah, you could basically Xerox copy the description of a criminal and pass it out to all the police officers because it's almost always minority male between 18 and 25." Like, and he just said, like, "Yeah, Xerox it, give it out to all the cops. We just got them."
Oh my god.
Yeah, and he's like, "They're running around with guns. How do you get the guns away from them? Throw them against the wall, arrest them for weed." Like,
That
yeah.
is like worse than the other one.
There's been a couple bad
I
ones
think
this
I
week.
think as far
It's not been
as
his
of
week.
recording, I think
Yeah.
I've seen 3 big
I think I've
ones
seen
come
4.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, 4. Yeah.
Yeah, the other one was
I've seen 5.
that were there's a couple there's like they all kind of blended together because they were all
Yeah.
the same statement. But the other one was like, yeah, we're over-arresting, over-patrolling
Like
white
white
people and
people.
under-patrolling minority communities. And along that same vein, he was talking about, like, yeah, there are more cops in minority communities.
That was a
because
separate
that's where all the
video.
crime
Yeah,
is.
that's where the crime is.
Yeah. It was like,
Why would we have them in the white neighborhoods?
every study has said white people use drugs to the same rate. But
And violent crime
yeah,
is at the same rate.
yeah, but like, but minorities' drug arrests were like 60% higher, even though they account for less of the population.
Oh
Yeah.
my god! And what sucks is it like to explain this to someone who like doesn't study these things like that.
Yeah.
You hear that 13% of the population. It's that Nazi talking about
Yeah.
13% of the population commits 50% of the crimes or
Yeah.
whatever like that in reference to black people. It's like because
That's the
we've
population we arrest.
decided who is worth patrolling.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, you're going to arrest way more black and brown people because that's where
You're
all the
in their
cops are.
community
Yeah,
arresting them.
You're constantly circling.
Also, as a white person, I would never get choked and killed for selling a cigarette.
Yeah.
Like, that's
like
not
that just doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen to members of the white community. We'll get shot by cops occasionally.
Yeah, very
but
rarely.
We don't get harassed as much.
No, definitely not.
Did you guys see that video of the new Florida? I think she was Attorney General or something like that. So like basically the highest level of being a police officer's
Oh, and she got
direct
pulled
boss.
over? Yeah.
She got pulled over day 2 after taking office, and she didn't have her government plates on yet.
Oh,
she got pulled over, and the cop was like,
yeah.
"Can you show me some insurance?"
Yeah.
And she's like, you
Why
pulled
you
me over.
pulling me
She's like,
over?
you pulled
Yeah.
me over for insurance.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, well I just ran the plate and it didn't come up with anything on insurance. And she goes, why'd you run the plate?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And he's like, that's just we just
That's just policy,
on on any of our drives we're supposed to be running plates the entire time or something like that. And like he tried to make like 2 or 3 jokes haha afterwards when she told him who she was.
But then she did like the power move too. It wasn't even. I think he asked for ID, and you could tell she was just fucking sick of it, and she knew he was gonna roast this guy alive tomorrow.
Yep.
So she gave him her ID, and I think her like attorney general card or whatever.
It was right on top of her driver's license.
Yeah, and she handed him both, and the guy was just
like,
fuck.
I done fucked up.
Attorney general. Yeah, you hear his
What
voice
did I
get all
do?
high.
Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah. So
I just wanted to be a cop in the South and harass black people in peace. I didn't want to pull over the AG.
Yeah, they should have a big sticker so I know. But back onto Bloomberg, another one of the sweet gems that came out this week. Do you guys remember what caused the 2008 financial crisis?
Yeah, the rating agencies giving AAA ratings.
No. It was because we ended redlining.
No.
You guys are so wrong. Yeah. You guys are so wrong on that.
This is a clip of
This
him
is a
saying
clip.
that.
This is a clip. We'll find the clip. We'll play it next episode.
Oh
But
my
a big,
God,
according to Bloomberg, financial genius,
amazing.
a big cause of the financial crisis was he was saying, back in the day, you would just tell your salespeople, avoid that neighborhood. There's a lot of people who couldn't pay their loans, and you wouldn't have to deal with them. And then we ended that policy and started giving everyone who qualified a loan. Of course, it's going to crash the global economy.
That is the most obscene, absurd shit I have
I didn't see
ever
that
heard.
coming. I didn't
That is
hear that.
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That's
there's that clip.
that is written like to be like a supervillain line. Like,
Yeah,
what is
no,
that?
it is a supervillain line.
Yeah.
He was on tape saying that that like minorities and poor people shouldn't live in Manhattan. Manhattan's a luxury good.
No.
Yeah.
There's no way he said something.
Manhattan's a
that
luxury good.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh
So if they
my-
can't afford to live here, get the fuck out.
Holy
Yeah, yeah. It's been a week where people were just like, oh, this guy does have a long political history. Maybe we should just look into it.
Wow, that's 2 that I hadn't seen.
Yeah.
Oh my
Same.
God.
Yeah. There was I got one that I kind of vaguely remember the story too, which was basically he said some really fucked up things at a conference, and then those people were publishing a report about like how Islamophobic stop and frisk was, and Bloomberg's police department, Bloomberg's NYPD, got a whole chapter in that report, and then you know what happened? He donated like $2 million to their charity, and they took out the report. That's how Bloomberg operates. He just fucking throws money at problems and they go away. Because the people have to decide, could I do better things with the $2 million than roast Bloomberg? Maybe.
Probably,
like
yeah,
they're trying to be like altruistic, but then they're stuck in this tough boat of like, do I take money from this crime lord and try to like accomplish things with it, or do I put out an article that no one will probably ever read? Yeah. The last one I'm gonna hit on Bloomberg just real quick. Do either of you guys have an idea how to solve the crisis with education in America?
Give them more money.
Okay, that's a decent idea. Anyone else?
Wait. Solve the education crisis?
Yeah, we're always low on the rankings and the class sizes are too big.
I was gonna say reducing class sizes, maybe more money for teaching pay.
You're both half right.
Yeah.
Nick, you're super wrong reducing the class sizes according to Bloomberg. Bloomberg says
I read this.
Bloomberg's solution is fire half the teachers, half of them suck. Double the wages of the other teachers, double the class sizes. We'll keep the cream of the crop, teaching all the kids, and just double the class sizes. Pay them a little more. They can fucking suck it.
Oh
Teachers
my
blow.
God.
I'm Michael Bloomberg.
That is amazing.
Yeah. So that's another one that came out. And I just want to address the fact that I think it's okay to develop as a person and change your opinions on things.
Yeah.
But I think it sounds a lot more genuine when you're like 18 to 25 and say some dumb things, or go through like a radical life-changing thing and be able to explain it of like, yeah, I did think that, but then I looked at all the arrest stats for minority youths and I saw that it was super fucked up, and I started working to promote justice reform and things like that. But Bloomberg's only response to this has been like, that's not who I am, that's not how I governed, that's not who I am, and that's not what I believe anymore. It's like, Bloomberg, you were 73 when you said those things, dude. Yeah. Did you really, like, you went through some radical transformation in the last couple of years?
In your 8th decade of life?
Yeah, and I mean, to send off the topic, we had a chaser with Mehdi Hassan a couple weeks ago, I think, at this point. Mm-hmm. And I think we don't have the clip, but he nailed it on CNN, where he's just like, yeah, why would we trade one, like, racist, sexist, homophobic New York billionaire for another
Republican.
One? Yeah, Republican billionaire for another one.
Yep.
Like, that's who you're getting if you vote Bloomberg. Oh. Mike cannot get it done.
I swear, if anyone listening to this or anyone I love votes for Michael Bloomberg, I will cut it off.
Hard pass.
I will cut it off.
Yeah. So that's just my quick on Bloomberg, because there was a lot more stuff I was reading this week, but those seemed like the most egregious of the bunch.
All right.
And I'm sure next week we'll have more.
Yeah.
This has just been like a slow trickle this week. There's going to be more clips.
It's so good.
When you're in public eye for that long, dumb things you say get recorded.
Yep.
All right. One of you guys, who's going? I think Nick's left.
Yeah. Nick's left.
Cool.
So, for mine, we're going to do a new segment. This is Nick's Dystopia Drive-By. So, what I did is I found 5 stories that I thought had, some good relevance towards the show, or something, fun, enjoyable that I can bring to the table. So, I am going to try and get through.
We're going to put Nick on the clock. What do we think's fair? 5 minutes? 4 minutes?
I was thinking 5.
5 minutes?
5 minutes.
5 minutes,
right.
5 stories, and we're going to throw questions at him.
5 minutes, 5 stories, and we're going to get follow-up if we need it. So...
I'm real dumb. I ask lots of questions, so get ready for
Timer is now set. Nick, drive us by.
Go.
All right. Starting it off is San Francisco. A homeless couple in San Francisco.
What qualifies as homeless?
Okay.
I'm kidding. Go.
We're on the clock.
Employed to deliver eviction notices.
Oh, my God. No. Oh, my God. No.
Yeah.
No.
That is absolutely the most dystopian thing I've ever heard. Ever.
That's wild.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Literally hired to deliver eviction notices.
I'm genuinely sad right now.
Yeah.
I'm like,
it hurt me.
Yeah.
I read that and it literally hurt my chest.
I'm genuinely sad for the future of America. That's so fucking brutal.
Let's give a little slight taste of good water here.
Mix it in.
Beer waste helps a Montana town save money on water treatment.
How?
Because they drink so much beer there.
Oh my God.
That the local government decided to
treat their water less? Is this supposed to be a good story?
No. This is a good story.
Okay.
Is that they contacted every brewery in town, every bar in town, and anywhere that would have beer production waste to funnel specifically the beer production water, which 70% of it leaves the batch. It's for other things. But then carries the yeast, all the other stuff down there, all the proteins, and they funnel that into the pre-mixed batch at the right amount in the water treatment facility. So their alcoholism,
and it helps kill it?
It kills and basically it reduces the amount of time it takes to treat a batch of water by up to 80%.
Shit, dude.
Yeah, like it's crazy.
That's kind of cool.
So letting alcoholism destroy your town while it fuels it. Oh, I believe it was Bozeman.
Oh my
Bozeman.
God.
Bozeman.
Yeah. Little alcoholic Bozeman.
Shout out to Bozeman.
Special plate in McLean's heart.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, back to the terrible stuff.
Oh, God.
Nanny cam in a Phoenix home.
No, I've heard of this. No.
Federal agent smelling girls' underwear.
No.
Fuck.
This is our federal agents.
He's not going to lose his job either.
Oh my gosh! If he doesn't, that's insane.
He might. He's caught. No, I can't even say he's caught on tape because there's a lot of things caught on tape that cops don't lose their jobs over.
So this federal agent, I believe, was looking for a home and was
Why was he in the
touring.
home?
He was touring a home with a realtor and went upstairs to the
Oh
bedroom.
my! It's not even crime related.
No.
Oh, he was
Oh
just
my
there.
No, he was.
I don't know if it'd be better or worse if it was crime related.
So yeah, the realtor was downstairs checking on a few things. He split off from the group, and there was a nanny cam in the girl's bedroom, and the family wasn't home. And he went to the laundry hamper and grabbed the first used pair of panties you could see and sniffed them. Came back into the room 5 minutes later to do it again.
Oh
Yeah.
my god!
God.
Yeah. So these
Now
are the
something-
deep state.
I was too sad to look up was the age of the girl.
It's bad.
It looked
What's
like a
the-
little
how
girl's
old?
room.
She's like 9 to 12 range, I think. I'm almost
it-
positive.
The picture looked like a little girl's room.
she's very small.
Fucking disgusting.
Back to the good stuff.
All
back
right,
at it.
We're on a
Arizona's-
roller coaster, Nick.
Arizona's viral penis man tagger
Oh
says
yeah, go penis man.
he was arrested by 25 heavily armed SWAT officers.
Yeah. Did you hear the best part though? He said he's not the only penis man. He's one of many, and it's a movement. So you can chop one head off of it, but he's coming back stronger.
I saw a great Reddit
Marvel's
comment like a
Hydra.
month ago that was so funny. He was like, so want to drive to the penis man town and start spray painting penis man all over town.
He
while
said
he's
there are
in
many
jail.
other penis men and women out there
my
that will
God.
continue this scourge.
What did they just like track down his house? Like how did they find him?
Also, the best part is this guy's a graffiti artist, and he got raided by SWAT. Like, I was like,
25
you can
SWAT.
just knock on his door and be like, "Hey, man, you're
Yeah,
under
come
arrest.
with
Sorry."
us. Like-
Yeah, yeah.
What's he gonna do? He's just got like spray paint
Yeah.
hands on his hip. Just
got a
Blinded,
holsters.
blinded.
Bam, bam, bam.
Yeah. Got him.
All right, and to get
We
into
got
my
45
last story,
seconds.
this one is right in the middle, and it's a little bittersweet. It's sad. Someone died. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But the title kind of makes up for it. YouTube star Ashton Kelly mauled to death by a grizzly bear during farting prank.
What?
Oh my god.
Apparently, this guy.
Was he gonna fart on Chris?
No, he was making it pull his finger.
Oh my god.
So the prank video was, it started out with humans,
Oh my
and he was
God.
going around and having people pull his finger or whatever, and trying as hard as he could, and eventually, like, if someone would pull his finger, he would, like, let out a big fart. He had like a fart making machine or something like that. He told his friends, like, oh, we gotta go to the woods. They stayed out there for 3 days looking for a grizzly bear, and died.
Nailed it, Nick. Nailed it.
Woo!
Nailed it.
This is like the white people version of the 5 fingers of death.
That's the dumbest thing I've heard in a long time to do. Who tries to find a bear?
He literally said, he was like
You're supposed
every
to avoid
single
bears.
person, every single person that came with him, that was his film crew, his friends, his family, everything. Literally, everyone told, this is the dumbest idea you've ever had. Please reconsider. The entire trip. And he literally went 3 days in the forest
Oh my god.
because he moved to Washington and heard that there were grizzly bears that lived there. So
Grizzly bears are also the worst bears to fuck with.
yeah, they have the temperament of like.
Like that's second worst by far.
Yeah.
Like
Besides
grizzly
polar.
bears. Yeah, polar bears are.
But polar bears are more mellow usually. That's why they're.
Grizzly bears
it's-
are
it-
fucking
They
huge.
told you the
Guys,
they said
the
that
saying,
the worst bear would be.
if it's black, fight back. If it's brown, hit the ground. If it's white, say goodnight.
yeah. Oh, true.
Is that what you're saying about bears?
That's the saying about bears. It is.
I've
Because
never heard this.
you've
saying
never heard
about
the saying?
bears.
Black bears, you could, if you put up a fight, they'll run away.
Yeah.
Grizzly bears, if you put up a fight, it'll fuck your day up. Polar bears, if it wants to fuck your day up, you're already dead. So,
Yeah. True.
yeah.
I just also feel like there isn't enough experience with polar bears. Like I mean, people have come into contact,
Yeah.
obviously, with polar bears,
Yeah.
but I feel like it happens a lot more with grizzly and black bears.
True.
So
Can I ask something? If you
I've
guys,
heard hit or miss. I've heard people say like, yeah, people say polar bears are really mean, but they're not.
I don't
And
think
I've
they're
heard
really
that they're
mean, but
fucking,
if
like,
they
No,
want
they have
to
a
fuck
better
you up,
they have a better temperament than grizzly or brown bears, but they
They're bigger.
are bigger and stronger.
and once they get an idea going in their head, they're gonna accomplish it.
oh, true.
They're
Oh,
a real
man.
tasty seal.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna veer us off of bears. That was our nice little bear segment
Yeah.
for a second
Now
there.
you guys know. That's the bear saying.
Slightly informed.
Yeah, slightly informed. That may or may not be true. Who knows? But it's a saying I've heard.
Hit
But
us on Twitter.
this, I'm going to get us back into this last story again for the YouTube prank star aspect of that. What's your guys' takes on the YouTube prank community?
Don't like it usually.
Yeah, it's dumb.
It's cancer.
Yeah.
But I was wondering if you guys know this. I didn't do any research for this. I didn't connect them. But, like, Have there been any deaths from the In the Hood pranks? Because I know there's been hospitalizations. There's been people who've gotten shot.
I don't know about death.
I don't know if anyone's died yet.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Because they every time you see one of these,
that wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
Pretending to siphon gas in the hood, or asking people if they want beef in the hood or something like that.
I've never really seen them. Yeah.
No, they're so bad.
I'm sure someone's died. I would bet money.
It's gotta be.
I just found a thread the other day that showed TikTok deaths of people dying while recording TikTok videos.
Oh, I saw one.
And there was like 50 or 60 of them.
I read one article that a bunch of people at TikTok were fired because some guy killed himself on TikTok.
Yeah.
And it was I don't really know how TikTok works, but I guess it might have been a live stream. I don't know if you can do that on TikTok, but whatever. He TikToked his death, and it took like 8 hours for people at TikTok.
I don't think
instead of calling the police, they hit up HR and they're like, "What do we do here?" It took like 8 hours for them to finally call the police and be like, "Yeah, this kid's dead." Like,
I think it was his friends who recorded his death too, which made it even worse.
Yeah,
all right, Nick, we ready for our chaser? I'm ready for our chaser.
I think it is time for the chaser. Now, the chaser, to let you guys know what you're going to be hearing in the audio and the podcast version, is it's a little tidbit from the documentary from our lovely Flat Earth community here in the U.S. Called, what is it, Beyond the Curve or Behind the Curve?
Behind the Curve on Netflix.
Behind the Curve on Netflix.
Okay.
Feel free to check it out. They spend millions of dollars and lots of money.
I think most of the documentary sucked, but this clip's fire.
This is so funny.
Yeah.
So the premise is you've got you got a light coming through a hole, and if it's far enough away, you should not be able to see that light from the same light,
the same height hole on the other side, because they would factor in the curvature there.
Exactly, because if it's curving, you couldn't see the same height. You'd have to see a few feet up.
Is this one of those ones where they prove themselves wrong?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
great.
Spoiler, but yes.
Spoiler. Play us out, Nick.
Here we go.
Oh god, that's terrible.
You have a backup experiment. If you're seeing through this hole, through the next hole, and seeing the light at the backboard or at 17 feet off the water, the Earth is flat. If he's holding it up at 23 feet high and we're seeing the light, well, that's because the Earth's curved. So I should only be able to see it when it's at 17 feet. Okay, go ahead and drive down there, Enrique. You're going to hold the light there. Enrique, how high is your light?
Oh my god. 17 feet difference. He needs to hold the light 6 feet higher to account for the curvature.
We don't see you, Enrique.
What?
Lift up your light way above your head. Interesting.
He sees the light at 23 feet.
Oh, interesting.
That's great.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so Flat Earthers prove themselves wrong. That's your chaser for this week.
So good.
And then it just cuts.
That was
Credits.
the end of the
Straight
movie.
to music.
Credits.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right.
That's
That's
so
amazing.
good.
That was amazing.
Well, what
Done.
a night of stories. We probably hit a record.
We had our ups
probably
and
had,
downs.
We crammed two or three stories into the shout outs. I got 5 done. McLean got 2. You got 2. Yeah. So hopefully
Got a
you
lot of
enjoyed
news this
all
week.
the stories. I mean, yeah,
You're slightly
we
informed
left,
for this week.
we left out a lot of actual politics news. So if we're more on focus next week, it's because we're ramping up for Super Tuesday.
Yeah.
But if you want to check us out, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts,
YouTube.
I
got one in.
RSS.com.
I think we'll make official Twitters too, because we always say shout us out on Twitter and then we don't.
We
include
have an
the Twitter.
official Twitter for the account.
We have
Was
a
it Slightly Informed?
we have a slightly informed
I think it's
media account.
If you're still listening, you might actually tweet at us.
Yeah. Please tweet at us.
We're gonna make sure.
Yeah. We're gonna double
Fuck
check.
boys, we
might
got a
have to-
Twitter.
We do have a Twitter. Sorry.
I know we made it. I just
I
forget what we
made
called
a
it.
Twitter. Oh wait, where is it? Yeah, my normal Twitter has
That's poor,
Alex,
Nick.
Alex Jones in the background. Hey, just because Alex Jones is in there doesn't mean it's
Just
porn.
because Alex Jones was watching transgender porn on the background on his laptop.
Oh, so sad.
Follow us on
Oh,
Twitter
God.
at SI_podcasts
Cool.
because that is for both this podcast and A Pub Divided. This is where we'll be publishing links to our episodes.
Our wallpaper's
and
a picture
our
of
clips.
Yang.
Yang
We
and
got
Bernie.
Yang and Bernie.
And Bernie, it's sad.
My boy, the
Rest
dead.
in peace. Rest in
R.I.P.
peace.
Yang. I'll be back.
And then, check out very soon Pub Divided. I think we've decided on an episode we'll be releasing very, very soon. And
Josts?
Josts.
G-hosts. Okay.
All right.
Later,
well,
guys.
Thanks for checking it out.
Love you.
Love you guys.